As we face the threat of tariffs from Trump, it really is a good point to consider what are the living standards in Canada right now. Living standards in Canada have been falling for quite some time. And I know this might come as a surprise to everyone out there in the rest of the world who think this Canada is a G7 country. We're doing great. Surprise, surprise, we're not doing great. We're actually suffering quite a bit. And I'm looking at this Fraser Institute article right here. This is a think tank that posts economic studies, commentary on economic issues. Go check it out. It's a great website. It has new data that shows that Canadian standards, Canadian living standards have fallen tremendously in the past 10, 15, 20 years. And this already comes in with the tariff threat looming and also the fact that we're not going in a good direction. If the tariffs hit us, we actually might hit recession. Some people might say we are already in a recession, but that's a different topic. But let's look at some numbers. Let's look at some data, okay? Because I'm going to present to you data that everyone needs to listen and pay attention to. So according to new data from Statistics Canada, this is their official website, the inflation-adjusted gross domestic product, GDP, which is the final value of all goods and products that are produced in the economy, grew by 0.6% during the last 3 months of 2024. Now, okay, they did grow in the last 3 months of 2024, but if you're comparing the per-person GDP at the end of 2024 with that of all the previous years, it becomes quite evident that Canadian living standards have fallen dramatically. And prior to the end of 2024, per-person GDP had declined for 6 consecutive quarters, and living standards had declined by 2.9% since the midpoint of 2022. What are some of the solutions here? What could be potential solutions? Well, it starts with government policies, right? Having better fiscal policies, balanced budgets, competitive taxes. This is what the article says. And one of the major problems that Canada has, the Canadian government has, it's its excessive government spending. Let me give you a number here. There was a substantial rise in government debt from 2014 to 2024. The debt had risen from 85.5% to 106.1% of the total size of the economy. So if you have these high debt costs, future Canadians have to pay for it. And of course, you're paying, in servicing the debt, right? So there you go. That's one big one. The second big one is highly uncompetitive personal and business taxes. I mean, you cannot incentivize people to work in Canada if you're saying, hey, why don't you come here, you get a high salary, and why don't you pay 30 to 40 or 50% of that in taxes? It's not a good way to incentivize, business development. So yeah, those are some of the ideas that we can use to improve Canadian living standards.